What up, Swiggle? Welcome to Acquired Taste. You gave us 3 albums to listen to, and we listened to them, and we're gonna ask you some questions about them, and then we'll let you leave, and then we'll talk about them some more in depth. But right now, we want to ask some questions. Thank you for being here, Swiggle. You are our first guest ever on this podcast.
Hey.
Shout out Swiggle.
Last week we had S&D pick our albums for us, so we're gonna try and include people a little bit more. Let me get to my. There we go. So I took on Port Amsterdam. It was the furthest from me, so I ended up taking it on. I wanted to hear how far we've come. This is a long ass album, Swiggle Mandela. Is this your first album?
Yeah.
Because it's the first on your Spotify, so I wasn't sure if it was like you considered it not a mixtape for the first time or something like that.
Yeah, I think technically, yeah, because I did an EP before that, and so I don't know. I guess it is my first album.
Tight, I like that. It's so long. It came in 3 parts, so I have a couple of questions around that. What made the decision that it was going to not be a short thing? Is it because it was your first one and you had been here so long?
Because I've been working on it for so long. I had the concept to do the album. Like, I wanted to do an album called Port Amsterdam. Maybe like 5 or 6 years before I ever released it. So I already had like songs for it, like Cortland Parks and a handful of other songs, but Portland Parks was like probably the first one.
Well,
so after I
had
had
like special song to you.
Yeah, after I had that joint. Then I just never released it. I just never felt comfortable releasing it. And then
relatable content.
I stacked so many songs that finally I was like, okay, it's ready.
Did any songs get cut in the making? Did they end up on something else? Because I always have a few songs that I end up cutting that end up on like the Fish album, me and Coda's album, or a mixtape.
I don't think so.
Well, that's tight.
I think when I was getting to the end of it, I felt like I didn't even have enough. I like added songs.
I wanted to ask you specifically, Dear Willamette Week was on here. We just shot the video for the sequel to that, and obviously you were just on the cover of Willamette Week. What was the immediate impact of that song? I know the relationship has since been mended and they've given you a lot of flowers, so like what was the immediate response you got when that song came out? I forgot that was on this album.
There was never really much to mend, I guess, but I initially we were all trolling their Instagram page, and I think there was like maybe just like some like smart remarks they said to us, but there was never really an issue. And then when the song came out, that's actually when I forget his name, but the person who wrote the article about Dear Willamette Week, that was when he first reached out to me. So immediately following the song was the article, and then yeah, everything kind of went viral locally after that.
So it did exactly what you intended it to do then?
I didn't even intend for it to do that, but I think I was burning the bridge. I was just like, fuck it. And then when they wrote about it, it was kind of like a surprise, or when they wanted to write about it. 'Cause I had given up wanting to be in that paper by then. So, yeah.
Just a quick question: who's on Ghetto Portland? It's not credited, and I don't think I realized there was another voice in there.
It's just me. Oh wait! Is there someone else on Ghetto Portland?
Yeah, someone harmonizes with you at the very end.
Oh, that's
female artist. It sounds like
that's Jackie. What's her last name? I can't believe I'm spacing her last name right now. Probably got that long ass day. But the homegirl Jackie, the homegirl Alexis Canner, and then probably the homie Baki, because like originally that song was like for a project that I was doing for the actual Portland Parks and Recreation. Yeah, so.
Oh, that's crazy. I never knew that.
Yeah, so there's actually like more than me just on the song.
That's super tight. I didn't realize that listening to it back in the or any of the listens I've had of it until I was trying to really think critically of it. So that's cool. Some facts I didn't know. This isn't really a question, but I wanted to point out that Dear Portland Police, Drippy Hippie, and Talk to Me are all on here, and I'm on the remix to all of those.
Yeah, they need the remixes.
I made it to 3 remixes. I was proud of that. Yeah, and then the last question I had another statement for you, and I guess you can give your opinion on it. But what was your favorite of your features? Because you have your brothers, there's Raz Simone, obviously there was the ones we just discussed, and there's a couple more, I believe. Favorite feature or producer that you worked with, just your favorite collaborator.
I think that's actually it. It's just my brothers and Raz. I don't think there's anybody else. But favorite, probably Azriel. He made Still Smoke Kill the beat.
Oh, okay.
And I think probably, man, controversially, I guess, Raz Simone, because I was just like the only one outside of like the family on there.
For sure. Yeah. That was what a wild ride that was for 2 years.
Yeah, for sure. On God. And then LaFreak made that beat, so that was like our biggest project ever.
Yo, he's dope. My favorite songs on the album were I've told you this before. MLK and Killingsworth is one of my favorite Swiggle Mandela songs. Sus, Not What It Seems, Abnormal, and then obviously Still Smoke Kill. It's crazy hearing you perform that almost every day.
I'm like fucking 6 years later.
Yeah, and the fact that, you know, that's on this, because we do that same thing, and sometimes I beat myself up about it. Like, we recorded Cocaine on the Table, you know, almost 7 years ago, and we perform it much less now, especially after the tour, but we still do it. But I kind of think as I grow older, that's the mark of a good artist, that you can pull from back then and it still can do something now. And that's it for me. That was Port Amsterdam, part 1 through 3. One of you fucks.
All right, yeah, I got some questions for you, Swiggle. So I got assigned Movie Money to listen to.
Okay.
It's a great album. Congratulations on that.
Appreciate it.
I've heard a few of them, like, you know, just from live shows, like Facial is a very popular one. Like, that I've heard at several shows.
That's an Arcadia beat.
Oh, really? Okay. So you got songs like Three Goats and I think All That. Like, you have several features with your brothers. So my first question is, like, what's it like having that immediate family who's also in the same lane as you, like doing the same creative passion? Like, what's that like, having that support system?
It's dope. It's like, I guess it makes you better, because like when your brothers are so good, then it just pushes you to be better. So yeah, it's like, I guess because it's just been my whole life, I just got used to it. But yeah, it's like, it's pretty dope. I know a lot of people don't have that same experience.
Yeah, no, it's you guys are all super talented and we all look up to you. So Needed is also on this album, which is, we've also talked a little bit about this on the pod before. How did that song come into fruition? Because, you know, you have such a large artist on there, and like, you know, we were able to meet up and you got to film a video and everything. So like, how did that come to be?
Well, my manager at the time, Max, shout out to Max, Boogie is one of his favorite artists. And so he was like so deeply involved in my career at the time. And he asked me one time, like, because he was showing me Boogie. He's the one that put me on to Boogie. I had actually seen a lot of, I had seen a couple of viral videos just on the internet, and I hadn't like looked into it, but I realized I already knew who he was. But my real introduction was through my manager. And so he was just like, asked me would I do a feature with him. And I was like, yeah, you know, after I like really was learning about him. And so my manager reached out to Boogie, and think Boogie quoted him some price that we probably weren't going to be able to afford. And he was like, yeah, we're going to have to dig in grandma's house, but we'll make it happen. And so Boogie like thought that was funny and was like, you know what? I like y'all. Here's my manager's number. I'm going to give y'all a better price. And then
yeah.
we made it happen. Sent him the bread, and then like the next day in the morning, it was in the inbox.
Well, it's a great song. I definitely I bumped that several times. I guess my last question would be, or actually not really a question, but the album's called Movie Money. Do you maybe just want to tell the listeners a little bit about why it's called that?
Because when they put out a movie, they don't judge the success of a movie about how many people watched it. Like how a lot of people do music, like they count the views and how many likes and how many monthly listeners you have. When they do the movies, it goes by the box office. It's how much money it made. So I was kind of like a business, like minded title about like, I'm not really worried about needing a million people to listen to it. I'm worried about like earning some money off of it.
Okay, yeah, I think that's about all the questions I got for you. Appreciate it. Andrew, you got anything you want to ask?
Yeah, I just got honestly a couple questions.
You're washed.
What? No. So I had The Teachings, which I think, at least on Apple Music, is your most recent album. So I think it's your most recent, right? So when you were talking with Fig about Portland Amsterdam, you mentioned how like you didn't exactly know like if it was ready to release or whatever, blah blah blah. Do you feel like your process for releasing music has changed since then, like up to this album, or is it still kind of like you go through the same process? And
for that specific album, it was different. I had got like funding. I had got a grant from the Regional Arts and Culture Council. They gave me a grant to record that album and release that album. So with that one, I started with no song, and I had like a deadline. So I started writing it and finished writing it and recording it in the same year, where like Portland Amsterdam was like over 5 years or something. So yeah, the Teachings was like different. It was definitely like set dates, and then yeah, came out in a timely manner.
that makes sense, yeah, for sure. All right, one last question. I feel like, I guess this isn't really, well, I'll lead into my question, but I feel like I've never really listened to like a ton of your albums. I feel like I hear a lot of your songs, whether it's music videos or social clips or things like that. I feel like I've more just heard songs here and there. And so it was cool to listen to an album. It's like front to back. But last question, just what's your favorite song on this album?
The Teaching. It's probably it's between Priority and Pity Party.
All right, bet, yeah, I can see that. Yeah,
Pity Party.
that's all I got for you.
Appreciate it.
Before we wrap this up, we normally do some sort of rankings every episode, and I know it's going to be difficult, but we're going to have you do that. If you had to rank these three albums, where would you put them? Your children, I know.
Yeah, kind of weird, but dang, Movie Money is number one. That's tough, but Portland Amsterdam is 2, and The Teaching is 3.
That's interesting, and I bet that's not like an indictment on any of them. There's a lot of reasons those albums are the way that they are.
Yeah.
But I can see that for sure.
And that's kind of neck and neck with Portland Amsterdam and freaking The Teaching. The Teachings, but Portland Amsterdam has Still Smoke
So
Kill, yeah, and Superwoman, and Yeah, there's a lot. It's just 30 songs, like hard to compete with.
Before you take off, we don't want to take up too much of your time. Do you have anything coming up? Any new music you want to talk about? New collaborations? Something or other?
I'm gonna release Movie Money the sequel in October, probably.
Tight.
I'm gonna release an album called Fruition. It's produced by Kenai. He's the one that sung on Needed. And then I have an album called The Mandela Effect Part 2, produced by my homie Showrunner from Seattle. So, yeah, I got a song with Joel Santana coming out. I got a bunch of music coming out next month. October. This
Awesome,
year,
bro.
hella music, yeah.
Well, thank you so much for stopping by. We'll make sure to send you some clips from this. I'll add some graphics or something. Yeah, we appreciate it. Hope you had a decent time. And fuck off.
Appreciate y'all, man. It was lit. It was
Absolutely.
dope. Quick, simple. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we try to be.
Efficiency.
And
Efficiency with a fish.
Beautiful.
Big fish gang. All right, man. You can hop off. You can get out of here.
All right.
All right, catch you later.
I don't know how to hang you up.
I can hang up.
If we could kick you, we would.